it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. So I share my asexual journey in order to help you in yours. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of Asexual Perspectives, which is this book here, and Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual, 70 life lessons to ace your life. These are both bestsellers on Amazon. So today I want to talk about changing your environment, as in I've changed mine, and why that's so important on your breakup recovery journey. And he lucked out, increasing confidence and productivity. So yes, if you follow my journey for a while, you may know that I broke up with my ex officially on the 15th of April 2024. And today is exactly 7 weeks till I broke up with him, or since, should I say, I broke up with him officially. So why do I say officially? Because on the Sunday, he deleted his whole Facebook account, which was like basically saying he wanted to split up anyway, but he didn't. He still phoned me a couple of times after that. So I was the one who had to officially end it. And so I don't keep it a secret that, the guy wasn't honest with me in the end. And I'm not interested in taking revenge or anything like that. I wish him all the best in his life. I hope he works on himself like I've been working on myself. And so what am I doing post breakup to feel better and increase my confidence, self-worth and self-esteem again? Because it did go down while I was with him. When you're with someone who lies and deceives and is saying things that are manipulating you, it's not going to make you feel good. It's going to diminish your spark, which is what it did with me. And so I realized over the process of these weeks, the actual realization of my relationship in terms of not just thinking about the romance and attraction side of it. So if I think about the attraction side of it, I would say me and him were very attracted to each other. And do I have any sadness? I still have a little bit of sadness at the moment. It's really weird because I've had a fantastic 7-week breakup. It's been one of the best weeks. Week 6 and 7 has been the best weeks so far for getting my self-confidence back, growing my self-esteem, feeling much better without my ex. Today I have a little bit of sadness in me, and I'm not quite sure why that is. So it's really weird. It's kind of a bit sad in terms of disappointment that he wasn't the right guy for me, but I am so glad that I officially ended things and that I didn't spend the rest of my life with someone who was not treating me well in the end. Because that is the greatest sadness of all. If you end up being with someone longer than you should be, and they just keep diminishing your self-worth and self-esteem and self-confidence, and you end up taking even longer to get them back, right? So we don't want to be in that position. So we want to be moving forward in our life. So yes, I have a little bit of sadness today. I don't know why I haven't really been that sad, but I have a little bit of sadness in me today. Thinking, it's a shame that things went like that, ended like that. It's a shame it didn't work out. But other than that, I'm really, really happy. Like, I've been happy all week that it didn't work out. I see the reality of the situation now rather than the rose tinted glasses. I'm much more happier being on my own and being single. I'm much more relaxed in my own home now. I'm much more happier living my own life. My life is very full now. So I wanted to talk to you about that, increasing my productivity again, because I'm more relaxed at home now. I'm more able to focus. I'm not as stressed and anxiety induced like I was. I'm able to, really be more productive. When I'm more comfortable in my own home, I'm more productive. And also when I'm giving myself time out for me and loving on me more and growing my self-confidence and self-esteem by self-dating, going out more, actually makes me more productive. So having more time out makes me then work harder when I am at home by myself, because I've got more things to work towards in a shorter time scale. Sometimes putting pressure a little bit on myself to do things within a set time scale. If I have some motivation for doing that, it's much better. So I had some legal documentation that I really needed to get sent off. And yesterday I spent nearly all day out on a beautiful self-date day. And so if you want to increase your self-confidence and self-esteem and self-worth, I'd highly recommend you get into self-dating. By me having a self-date day yesterday rather than just a self-date as in one part of the day, it really helped me to grow my self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth back up. So it was amazing. So I did a live stream yesterday, and it was all about how to be intentional. Actually, it might have been the early hours of this morning, how to be intentional with your self-dating. This means I want you to set an intention for the day, like what are you doing for the day? What are you doing on the date? I want you to show up for yourself every single time, even if you feel tired, because it's all about self-trust and actually being there for yourself. I want you to rev up your self-talk. I want you to talk about how gorgeous and beautiful and amazing you are. I want you to be actually taking yourself out on a date. I want you to dress to impress yourself. I want you to dress in the best clothes that you feel happiest with, that make you feel gorgeous and beautiful. I want you to get out there and self-date. So I took myself out to the cinema to watch what was meant to be a kids movie, but I wouldn't exactly say it's a kids movie. It had an actual sex scene in it. And although you didn't see sex itself, you knew that they were doing it. They were in their underwear and stuff, and part of it had a box of condoms. I'm thinking, this is not really what I would call a kids movie that you'd watch at weekend with your parents, but never mind. So yeah, it's called The Present, if you want to know, about a grandfather clock that goes back in that can basically make things go back in time. Anyway, I digress. So then I took myself clothes shopping because I had money from my birthday, and I had it out in Nando's, and I literally shopped till I dropped. In other words, I shopped till the clothes. I was going to say shop till the clothes shut. I mean, clothes shopped till the shops shut. I can't even say it. It's so funny. So I clothes shopped till the shops shut. That's what I was trying to say. And so if you can laugh and have joy in what you do, it's so good for you. So make sure that you're increasing your confidence and self-worth and self-esteem by self-dating and by doing things that you love and you enjoy. Right. And when we do more things that we enjoy, when we reward ourselves for our own good behavior, when we reward ourselves for just loving on ourselves, and when we do put time, energy, and effort into loving us, this automatically increases our self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. But we have to keep promises to ourselves. So if we put a date in the diary for a date with ourselves, we have to actually maintain that date. We have to go to that date and show up. So you have to act as if you're in a relationship with yourself. And the reason this is good as well is if you do want a relationship down the line with someone else, not just with yourself, if you get into a habit and be disciplined with yourself, you're more likely to be able to be there consistently, showing up for someone else and gaining their trust as well. So this is good practice. It's good skills for you to do this with yourself so that you can then get better with other people if you have an issue with that. I don't tend to have an issue being consistent with other people, right? But it's good to be consistent with ourselves as well, because it helps us self-love more and helps us put ourselves on a pedestal and make ourselves important rather than putting everyone else on a pedestal, right? We have to know our value and our self-worth. So when you date and you're intentional about it and you make your own dreams come true, you increase your self-worth automatically and self-esteem. I'm making a habit of self-dating every Sunday now. I don't have a day off of self-dating unless, I wanted to go to an event that happened to be on a Sunday, or I needed to see a friend on a Sunday, so I still give myself that leeway. But otherwise, I'm not staying at home. I'm out at least part of the day on a Sunday. It's just that yesterday I made it a whole self-date day. And then when the shop shut at about 5 o'clock, well, they were starting to get ready to close at 10 to 5. I then started going home. And so this is very important, because then late at night after that, I was able to do the legal documentation thing, write this letter and all this evidence and send it off this morning. So this increased my productivity. So sometimes when you give yourself time out, when you love on yourself, you rev yourself up, you make yourself feel so confident and high your self-esteem, it can actually put you in a much more relaxed state. So if you have anxiety, it's a really good thing to do, because if you got lost in your favorite endeavors, if you get lost in just being with yourself and shopping for yourself and loving on yourself and eating your favorite foods and taking yourself out for a movie and getting lost in the cinema action, if you just do that and you just take a lot of time out from your normal routine of the week or the month, then it just makes you feel so much better, and it helps to be more productive. If you're just trying to be productive and grind all the time and go over and over and do something, you're not really motivated to do it. It can actually take you a lot longer. So I've been wanting to do this thing, like legal stuff, for about a week, and well, at least since Monday. So, and I sent it off today. So, but I wasn't able to do it till last night. So it's basically 6 days I couldn't do it, because I couldn't. I needed a lot of concentration for it. And going out and having a whole day of just not really thinking that much apart from about myself, not focusing on other people, not focusing on other distractions. I had my phone off in the cinema. I had my phone off when I was first shopping before I went to Nando's. Doing all that type of thing brings your energy back to yourself. And when you bring your energy back to yourself and you feel refreshed and invigorated, your whole nervous system kind of calms down. And it's like, oh, I can breathe, I can be happy, I can lean into myself, I can feel good. And this just makes you feel so much better. And if you've had a heartache and heartbreak over someone, and that person wasn't good to you and they lowered your self-esteem in the end, and they made you feel bad about yourself by the way they spoke to you and disrespected you and the way that they criticized things unnecessarily and made you be the problem when they were actually the one causing issues, then gaslighted you and whatever, all these type of things that aren't good, that do make you doubt yourself, that do put your head in a haze, all this type of thing, which someone's lying, you don't know what's the truth and what isn't. So if this happened to you, it can make you really destabilized, which it did me. It can make me make you really disassociated from yourself, which I was, and make you really miserable and upset, and you're like, what the hell's happened? It's almost like an avalanche has hit you and you don't know what the hell happened. You're like, what's going on? What went on? And it's such a shock to the system. It's really traumatic. And I don't think this is talked about enough, because you're meant to just get over a breakup like that. But let's face it, people take months, sometimes years to get over a breakup. I feel I'm doing really well. I'm very proud of myself. This is week 7, and I'm at least 75% over it, if you know what I mean. I'd say 75% over it. That's probably a good figure. Week 7. At times in the week, I felt even more strongly like I'm really pretty much over it now. And then today I felt a little bit sad. So if I say 75% over it, 25% not fully over it, I think that's quite realistic, and there's no rush to get over everything. Things take time, and grief is a process, and sometimes grief comes back and then it goes again, it comes back and it goes again. But I know that I'm so much stronger without him. I know that my self-confidence and self-esteem is shot right back up a lot more. I'm much happier being single again, and I really, really am enjoying the fact I'm so productive. My productivity is shooting up. I wrote myself a monthly goals journal that I started just this month, and it's got over 50 goals in it. And I still don't think I'm doing enough. I saw someone today who's from used to come to my asexual meetup. She kind of disconnected me off Facebook, and she kind of stopped doing her YouTube and stuff, and she's got some health difficulties, which I understand, but I hadn't seen her for ages. She used to come to my meetups. So it was so good to see her. And I said to her, oh, I've listed 50 plus goals for this month. I said, I still don't think I'm doing enough. She's like, I think you're too hard on yourself. But so basically the ones in yellow are the ones that start crossing off when I do them. And this is quite personal stuff, some of this in here, or some of it isn't really, but I just thought I'd show you, because this is a motivational tool you can use. even if you don't achieve all of them, just, like getting them, highlighting them, and just ticking them off when you do them just makes you feel so good. And if you can see how many you can actually do in a month, you're going to achieve a lot more than if you don't note them down, if you know what I mean. So there's other stuff I'm doing, other stuff connected to these things that's not written in here, so it's not just like 50 plus things. So I think it's really good to have a monthly goals journal, because when you focus on your own goals, and now you're no longer with that person, when you're with that person, you were kind of having your goals yourself, but you're having goals with them as well. So it's really important that you redirect your focus onto you, and you sort out what you want your goals to be for this month and the coming months. We've got 6 months left of the year now. So you want to be thinking like, what do I want to achieve in those 6 months? But particularly, what do I want to achieve this month? Because sometimes we can't think too far ahead. If we try to think too far ahead, it's overwhelming for us, right? So especially if you've had a breakup and maybe, you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with that person, which I did actually think at the beginning of that relationship, which I haven't thought about that with a person for a very long time. So that's why it's a little bit sad and heartbreaking even more, because I didn't really think about it for a long time with being with someone forever, apart from that person. So that's like the first person in a while. So yeah, that was a bit sad, but I'm so glad that they weren't nice to me in them, really. From the point of view, it's easier to get over them now because I know they weren't nice to me in the end, and I've realized the cold hard truth is they weren't being nice to me, and then their values were very different to mine, and I would argue not good values, some of them as well. So when I'm able to see they weren't good for me and how bad they were for me, and then I'm able to get over them more easily by actually seeing that as the truth rather than seeing the romanticism of the situation. If I'm able to see, okay, they lied. Do you want to be with a lie for the rest of your life? Ask yourself, would you really have liked to be with someone who lies to you forever? Because forever's a long frigging time. No. By showing their true colours and lying to you, they've actually done you a favour. Would you have liked to spend the rest of your life with someone who deceived you? Why would anyone want to do that? If someone's deceiving you, your whole sense of reality is blurred completely, and it destabilizes you in the most insecure relationship ever. Why would I want that? No, and manipulation. Some things he said were manipulating. Do I want to be manipulated and controlled? No, I damn well don't. Did the person appreciate and value my worth in the end? No, they didn't. So why would I want to live my life with a guy like that? He's actually done me a huge favor, because had he been really nice in the end, that would have been a harder breakup, in the sense that it would have been like, oh, well, why can't we be together if he's really nice and I'm really nice? But in the end, because the way he didn't actually officially end it, I had to officially end it because he couldn't be asked. By his own admission, he's weak. So yeah, that's his words, not mine. But yeah, I quite agree with him. And if I'd have spent the rest of my life with that type of guy, like, I wouldn't even know who I was anymore. I think my sparkle would have just continued to fade, and it wouldn't have been good. The cold light of date, in a romantic sense, it's been hard, but in a realistic sense, it's like, Sandra, you can soar now. You're off dating sites as well. Like, when I say off dating sites, I am still technically on some dating sites, but I'm not active on them anymore. I'm taking time out. I don't want to date anymore on dating, online dating apps and websites. I'm not interested. And it's taken me a while to adjust to the detoxifying of dating, online dating, and being in a relationship. It's taken me a while because I'm on a dating detox. I've been on online dating sites for 10 years, active on them. That's a lot of talking to different guys, a lot of validation. I'm very experienced in that. I have no problem in going to a guy's inbox, talking to him, and, chatting him up if you like, or whatever you want to call it. I have no problem with that. Don't have a problem approaching guys on dating sites. But at the end of the day, most of the guys I'm getting through dating sites in the past and on dating apps, they're just low quality guys. My ex, I got through Facebook dating. Yet the irony is, he was complaining about social media and the fact that, I'm wanting to communicate with him through Facebook when he doesn't use Facebook, but I met him through Facebook dating. I'm like, yeah. It's like, well, a big tip for anyone out there, if you don't like Facebook, then don't try to look for someone on Facebook dating, because most people who do Facebook dating are regularly on Facebook, the majority. That's kind of the whole point. It's convenient for them, right? So it's just stupid. It's stupid, be authentic. If you don't like Facebook, then why effing are you trying to find someone for a relationship on Facebook? It's just ridiculous. Anyway, all four guys that I've dated in person or Facebook dating, they've all been liars, all of them. And so I'm just fed up with that. And now I feel I can use that time that I was using on dating for much more productive stuff, in my own life with my own goals. I'm not interested at the moment in getting into a relationship again. But one of the ways I have helped my confidence is by smiling at guys in the street again, younger foreign guys, Indian guys, and talking to some, or like, oh, I think I mentioned it in one of the previous live streams, and yes, I did. And the fact that there was a Indian guy who works in Poundland in my city, and I started talking to him. It was just a friendly chat, but by doing that, it helps me to know that not all guys who are Indian are bad guys, right? And it's nice to just be able to talk to younger Indian guys again. Like, why should I let the ex put me off other Indian guys for life? Why? Not every Indian guy is gonna be bad, are they? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a good person, so there are gonna be other good people out there in the world, but I'm not interested in getting into a relationship anymore at the moment. Having said that, I'm still going out to different places and meeting different people, because if I was to meet someone, I think I'd rather do it in person at the moment. But I don't want to be in a relationship. I really don't. I have a lot less anxiety and a lot less stress not dating anymore and not being in a relationship anymore. I'm a lot better. I need to calm my nervous system down, because even before I met my ex, my nervous system got to the point where it was extreme and I was coming out in lumps, rashes, and spots, which I believe was related to stress. And obviously, the last relationship didn't help with the stress and anxiety, just made things much, much worse. So I need to calm my nervous system down. I need to get used to purposely spending more time by myself and being with me in my own home. And this comes on to the topic of environment. I've been changing my environment today. I'm really happy that I've got my bedroom different now. So I've got if you saw a shorts video, you'll see that I've got a new sparkly silver curtain. It's like it looks like glitter bits in it. So it's really nice. An old suitcase is removed from the top of my wardrobe. It's opened up a lot more space in my bedroom. I've got a new curtain pole, curtain rod, should I say, with this curtain. And it just looks gorgeous over that side of the room. Like, this side's the same with the decor, but over that side's different. So it really looks lovely now. So I'm making my home environment a lot nicer. I still got some things to get rid of. So when you have a breakup, it's important that you reorganize and declutter your environment and change your environment around as much as possible. Now, you might be really limited on space. I'm really limited here because I rent. I don't own my flat. Masonette actually is 2 floors. So I have to think outside the box. And so I spotted a way that I could put a curtain over some hooks where the current blind is. That's a landlord's blind. And I had to have a really thin rail, which I had a net rod, but I've actually put a low, like a thinner curtain, unheavy, I should say, curtain on there. And it's threaded through. It looks beautiful. And the sparkliness represents my personality, being sparkly. I feel that in the last relationship, I lost my sparkle quite a bit because I was so anxiety induced and stressed, because I didn't know whether I stood with the person in the end. The person wasn't really being honest with me in the end. And they I felt like I was the one driving the relationship forward, and there was not consistency there in behavior and attitude. That changed, and so it was just a bit of a mind fuck, to be honest, excuse my language. And so I'm actually really glad now that the reality has set in that I am better off without that person, and I do value my own worth. I do value my self-esteem. I've got so much going for me in my life and so much goodness and happiness. I'm able to stream all the time on this channel. I say all the time, like nearly every night now. There's occasionally I don't do it if I've got loads of work on, but I'm on this channel a lot more than when I was in that relationship. I've had much more success since I split up with a guy, and changing my environment is helping, because you want to make sure that your life is different to when you were with that person, so that you feel differently, so that your environment is not constantly reminding you of them. Because if you change some things around, you're like, it's freshening things up, and you're like, oh, this guy doesn't actually know totally what my home looks like now, because I have been changing some stuff. So if he was to come now, which he's never gonna ever come again to my home, but if he did, it would look a bit different now to what it did back then. And so it gives you a fresh sense of perspective in your own home. It makes you feel more comfortable, and it's really good. Another good thing that's happened is he really lucked out. So I went to Tech Exeter event. I haven't been to one of their events for ages, years I'm talking about. And in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club that I've joined, which is very good for growing my self-confidence and self-esteem, he encourages us to go out and do things that are different to what we usually do, either things we haven't done for a long time or things we've never done at all, and meet different people, be in different social circles, because this is a great way of meeting new people, of growing confidence, of gaining different interests, different pursuits, but also you could possibly meet someone for a future relationship at a different event, right? It's possible. So you have to go with the intention of just having a great time, really, and enjoying yourself, and getting to listen to different perspectives, understanding different environments and this type of thing. But I went to an event called Tech Exeter, which I decided to go to. And I hadn't been to one of their events for ages. And I have to admit that I used to like their digital Exeter events, which was social media and all that type of thing. So I wasn't sure how I get on with the topics that were there at the Tech Exeter event this week. I thought I wouldn't like them as much, but I was clearly mistaken in a good way, because I absolutely loved being there. The three speakers were amazing. There was one guy who talked about like creating an inbox, because it's all to do with coding, really. And it was a guy, like, was teaching you like different parts of the inbox, like email address and password, and then verification and stuff like that. Now, because I'm really into tech, and I love coders, I have a great admiration for them, because I can build websites, but I can't code. I build my own websites. Asexualise.com is built by me. And so I have a great respect for them, and I really love tech speak. I use technology in my everyday life, in my business, like such as to spread these videos around my social media. And when I was there, like, this guy made inbox sound absolutely thrilling. It was so good. And it was just really nice, because I felt like the speakers, I could relate to them in my own business and in my own life of what I do, even though I'm not a coder. And they made it so relatable, sharing their personal journeys and stories, sharing their knowledge, which can actually be applied to multiple different aspects of life or business. And so I really got a lot of value out of it. And I thought it was so great that my ex lucked out on that, because he was indecisive about whether to stay in London or to come to my city, to move to live near me, right? And so at one point he was like, "Oh, I really prefer Exeter to London. It'll be great. I want to move here." Then it was like, well, in the beginning it was like he would like sort something out. I'm not going to divulge all this personal information, even though we're split up. I don't believe in that. So he was going to discuss something to do with his family about getting to live here. That's all I can say. And so, anyway, he didn't even follow through on that. But then, he was, I'm in an iron where to stay in London or come to Exeter, my city. In the end, he was like, "Oh, I'll come to your city because of your anxiety." I mean, that's not a reason you go and move to live near someone. Blaming something like resentfully on someone's like anxiety condition as a reason to move. You move to a city because you love that person, you want a fresh start, you want to see what opportunities are in that city, you like the city for yourself, you've checked it out and you feel you might be comfortable there, right? And you don't go and do something and like in a blame way. If you're going to move to live near someone, you do it with your full passion, your full heart, and because you want to truly make it work, you know what I mean? Like, and be secure in that. If that's not the case, you shouldn't be doing it. And so anyway, one of the last conversations he had, which was before I officially ended it, because he pretty much nearly ended it anyway, was but he didn't officially end it, I did, was he said, "Oh yeah, well, I'm worried that if I come to live in your city 6 months later, you'll split up with me. And so I'll be left, like, what will I do then?" Right? So if he thought I was gonna split up with him, then he knew it's because that he wasn't treating me well. Because I said to him I would be with him forever, providing I still felt good in the relationship, which I should be feeling, which I wasn't in the end. And he knew that because I told him. So he said he could make things right, but he didn't. He did the opposite. So anyway, but the whole point is the reason he lucked out is because I went to a Tech Exeter event, right? And these are people that are in the technology industry and got jobs in it, right? And he has a technology degree and he wanted to get a job in what he's actually studied. So in the UK, his current circumstances, he can't do that. Right? In what he was, well, I say current, he might have changed things now because I haven't been with him for 7 weeks. But when I was with him in a relationship, part of the problem was he wanted a job in what he's been trained in, but he hasn't been doing that for like the last year and a half or whatever. So it's very difficult for him to just get that when there's other people that's more experienced than him. So anyway, my point being is if he did come to live in my city, he could have actually come to extra events with me, and then he might have been able to get some additional work on top of a day job to be able to actually do the work he loves. But he lucked out. He lucked out because he lost the girl, which is me, and he's now lost that opportunity. Exeter, my city, is thriving. Lots of people who come to Exeter University are very successful usually in getting jobs here as well. Because the University of Exeter is, they have places where people do research and, it's just a really good city. And one guy I met at Tech Exeter, he is actually Indian. And he came to Exeter Uni to study, and then he got sponsorship. And he's like got sponsorship for 5 years, and he doesn't want to move back to India. He's not suitable for a relationship with me. I'm just saying it was nice to talk and find that information out. And so also they were one of the guys who was a speaker, he's interested in me doing a talk. I thought the irony of it, me doing a tech talk where my ex wanted a job in tech, but I have a deep interest in tech myself. I have IT qualifications myself, and I build my own websites. I've taught myself how to do it with using WordPress plugins and themes and stuff. And I've been using tech for years. Because that's why I get attracted to guys who can code and build websites or in tech, because I like it myself. I can relate to it, I'm a tech girl, really. I didn't used to be until 2012, probably was the start of my tech journey, when I went into the entrepreneur space. But having said that, actually, I taught myself in 2010, I started blogging. And yeah, it was after that I taught myself how to build websites. Um, so yeah, I just know he lucked out, really. I mean, there's no guarantee he would have got work there, in his industry, but he would certainly have been able to mix with people who actually do work in those industries, learn from them, and perhaps get some additional work with them, even if it's voluntary for a while, to get into that line of work if he did come to my city. You know what I mean? He would have been around like-minded people. But instead, I'm around those like-minded people. Do you know what I mean? So I just think he lucked out. And he did luck out because I do like myself. I do value myself. I do appreciate myself. And yeah, I think he did lose a good person who really did love and care about him. But I lost what, a liar? So I actually gained my life back. So that's good. And it has taken me a while to get my self-confidence back. I'm still working on that, but this last 2 weeks has been amazing. I have been like going out more when I can. I've been staying indoors more than I had the first weeks because I'm able to be happier being in my home now. but I've been more productive and I've been going out I've been trying different things, I'm due to go to another TED TED? Sorry, I said TED. Tech. I nearly said TED Exeter. I meant Tech Exeter event. This Thursday as well. Thursday morning, I have to get really early. It's 8:30 in the morning for a couple of hours. This is a social thing. So, but I really love the people there. I really vibe with them. They're really good energy. They're very positive. They're all interested in tech. And I feel that kind of like productivity energy. I feel that spark. I feel that enthusiasm for being productive and getting on with things and making shit happen and being like with technology, both past technologies and some future technologies like AI. And I just find the whole thing atmosphere really, really good there. And the fact that one of the speakers said that he thinks I should do a talk basically on how to build a personal brand using tech and social media, which I could do a talk on because when I'd heard that, I came back home and started like writing out rough version of how I would do a talk for that. So I might actually do that. When I talked to the guy who runs the events, he didn't actually say about me doing a talk, and I was kind of asking him about that. But then afterwards, one of the speakers said he wants to build a personal brand, on social media. He doesn't know how to do it, and it'd be really good because I said I use technology to build my brand, on social media. And I told her about this YouTube channel, so I think it'd be great to do a talk because I'd be able to introduce asexuality as to what I do now and building this channel, and then how I'm able to do that to help others. So I think to help others build out whatever niche they want to build out, presumably technology. But some of them, like they do other things beside technology. They have other interests. I met someone else who's a writer there, and she was talking to me about writing. One of the speakers, she was speaking about being a coder, but we were talking about other stuff. So, and she actually did her talk on crutches because she'd injured her ankle. So being around like-minded people, being around people who are action takers, who enjoy what they do, who are problem solvers, who are very down to earth people, who are very funny. The speakers were very funny. They were very down to earth. They were very relaxed when they were speaking. It was good from a speaker point of view for me to see these speakers as well, because I was very interested in seeing how they compose their talks, because I'm looking at it from a speaker point of view now, because I did speaker train last year, which I'm continuing to do with the company I'm with. And so, training with a company. And so I was able to look at their talks, not just for the content of their talks, for the way they presented it and the way they broke it down into its components, like in 3 acts, that's called, and stuff like that. So it was very good for me. I really loved being there. I got a free drink as well, which is soft drink. Don't drink alcohol. So it just felt so good, So I've done a lot this week, like to be productive. I've done a lot to raise my confidence and self-esteem. I'm back to like working on my goals, 50 plus goals, It's like, yeah, let's crack it open. Let's do this. The more goals I succeed in achieving, the better. I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm still playing catch up, because there's stuff that I haven't done like as much as I should, because I had ill health before my ex, and then with my ex I didn't get that much work done. I kind of put them first a lot, which I don't have to do anymore. I can just put myself first and my career first now, I feel a lot more relaxed now and better. And I wanted to share this with you because I think it's really interesting if you're, for example, going through a break up, but breakthrough. That's what I should have titled this video, actually. Maybe another one. Your break up is your breakthrough. I think that should be another video. Why your break up is your breakthrough. It's a really important title for a book as well, I think. Because, when you go from breaking up, you break through your barriers more, because you then see things that are not quite right in your life, or you want to make changes and you take the action to do it, because a breakup's so painful, it creates and forces you to make changes in your life of things you're not happy with, so that you can actually move forward and move forward faster. So your break up is your actual breakthrough. And you break through the barriers and fears you've got to live your dreams more. So I'm breaking through my comfort zone by going, for example, again to tech Exeter events, which I haven't been to for years. That's leaving a comfort zone, but it's actually going to somewhere where I feel really comfortable amongst those people. The irony of it is because I thought, well, where else can I go? What else can I do? I'm like, oh, you like going to the business events in London, for example. Last one I went to, although I injured my back there, um, because these people are high vibe people, they're action takers, they like your energy, Sandra. You feel at home there. So maybe if you start going to business events in Exeter, then this will make you have the same high vibe feeling. You'll be around like-minded people who are interesting, they're intellectual to talk to. I really love intellectual conversation. They're into the stuff that you're into. So it's really weird because even though I can't code, I feel I fit really in to that environment. It's because I love technology so much and I understand what they're talking about a lot of the time, even though I can't code. So it's incredible. So again, this just raises my confidence and self-esteem because I'm around people who I can understand, who, as far as I'm concerned, are very intellectual and very creative as well. Because you have to come up with a lot of creative solutions when you're a coder. And when you're working in a company, you have to be a problem solver. So all these qualities are ones I admire in people: problem solver, discipline in what they're doing, being enthusiastic about what they're doing, being able to come up with solutions on the fly, enjoying the work they do, or at least being disciplined and committed to it, and then realizing that if it's not for them, they find a good way out and way forward. Sharing their personal stories. One girl was very, very vulnerable there, sharing the fact that, it was difficult when she's a junior developer and she's, like having on junior coder, like having issues because she's not used to being thrown in that environment after she's left university. So it's really different talk. It was like very vulnerable, rather than just saying, "Oh, I went to this job. I was really good at this, or I wasn't good at that." Is more like the transition from like, "Oh, I went to like being in academia to then going into this job," and it's like there's a huge gap there, and it's like, "Oh, I want you to solve this problem now for this client." It's like I don't know what I'm doing. And so that was really interesting, and she put a lot of, like, emojis on there on the slides and that, so she made it really interesting. So I love the whole thing. I'm really looking forward to going to the Tech Extra event, this Thursday. I'm not looking forward to the time it is because it's really super early in the morning. I've got to get up really early. But remember, when you change your habits and you change what you're doing and you create new habits in life, you make breakthroughs. So your breakup becomes your breakthrough. So it's really important to harness all the breakthroughs you have. And I just know that by being in different environments and talking to different people, especially ones I vibe with that are on my mind wave, is that even a word? Then it just makes me feel more confident. When you're around people as well who are saying, like, you should be doing a talk, it makes me feel confident that someone even said that to me, especially a speaker who's clearly good at speaking. They're actually an actor as well as a speaker. And so I'm like, "Oh, you think I should do a talk?" And you know what I mean? It's like an honor and a respect. And what I really love is that I feel good about myself now because with my ex, the way he spoke to me sometimes was like I was 5 years old. Bear in mind, he was actually the younger one in birth certificate age. But I treat everyone as equals as much as possible. So like his birth certificate age didn't bother me. And I like younger guys, and I think they do bring stuff to the table in a relationship, and they can be really intelligent. But this guy, when he was speaking to me about business stuff, it's like I knew nothing. I was 5 years old. It was so patronizing. And I don't need to be with someone who makes me feel like I'm 5 years old and talks to me like that. You know what I mean? Because it's just stunts your growth. When you've got someone who is not even like talking to you on an intellectual level, like you're intellectual yourself, you know what you're talking about, and they've got confidence and you know what you're doing. When you've got someone who's telling you what to do all the time or telling you about something as though you know nothing about it, and it feels it's like they making you feel like you're 5 years old or something. It's just really patronizing and horrible, and you can't flourish in a partnership with that type of person. It's not actually a partnership, it's more like a dictatorship or authoritarian thing. Like he was the one that was saying, oh, in like, for example, I've got my own Redbubble shop, right? I've got designs on there, 60 designs. I've designed my own Asexualise on Redbubble. You can go look at it. It's got asexual t-shirts on there, hoodies, and all sorts, right? I did those designs, right? And I've also do book publishing. I've worked with a designer for my first book, and then I design my own. And so I know all about like design and stuff. And then he comes along and starts telling me about design. And the way he spoke to me was that so I knew nothing. He wasn't saying, oh, like, so I'm really interested in your designs. Like, tell me how you did that. I'm really interested because I used to do design work as well. And we share that in common. It wasn't collaborative thing like the way he was speaking to me. It was just like, oh, I've done design before. And, this is the colors, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, I know about color schemes, I know about CYMK RGB. And he's like, oh, it's not CYMK and RGB. I said, well, it is in the UK and it is in book publishing. My first book that was published, Break Through the Barriers of Redundancy to Get Back into Work, an A to Z How to Guide, that's actually done by someone who worked for a big marketing company in the media and marketing industry in London. She's a professional, and she was the one who explained all about colors and the use in book publishing and stuff. She would really know. She's got, you know what I mean? So when you've got someone who's patronizing you and talking down to you like that in a relationship, it just makes you like, it makes you feel so bad. It's like they're not talking to you on your level. They're like talking down at you like you don't know anything. And it's horrible. It has no respect for my career in the media industry, my career in book publishing, my career in entrepreneurship since 2012. It's like there's such a lack of respect. There's like, it's not like treating me as an equal on an intellectual level. It's like they know more than me. And when you've got a person like that, it's like, they don't see the beauty of your own intelligence. They don't see the beauty of your own creativity. They don't see you as an equal. And when you have that type of relationship and imbalance, it's just horrible. It really means that you cannot flourish and shine. And I can see that much more now. Like when I was in the relationship, I was telling him, even before we split up, like the weekend before we split up, I'm like, you're speaking to me like I'm 5 years old. You know what I mean? It was horrible. And I don't need that type of guy in my life. You should have someone in your life who respects what you do and who values what you do, and who appreciates what you do and appreciates your knowledge, where you can both give knowledge to each other and both be equals, not in competition with each other and not one more superior than the other. It's horrible. And when I think now of what I've lost someone belittling me, I've lost someone like trying to be more superior or thinking they are more superior to me. And I'm actually growing just by attending one Tech Exeter event. As a single person, a solo artist for life, I'm growing. I'm growing because people are able to talk to me and see that I have good qualities. I have things I can bring to the table. I have knowledge that they don't have. I inspire them as well, and that makes me feel good. And that's a growth. That's a growth environment, a growth mindset around other people who want to grow as well and who don't look down on me, but appreciate me for who I am. And that's the environments I flourish in. That's the environment most people flourish in. You know what I mean? Not one that is patronizing, belittling, and superiority. You know what I mean? It's like you can't breathe in that type of relationship. Of course, when I was in it, like I said, I said to him, like, you're speaking to me like I'm 5 years old. But I didn't actually realize how much that was going to stunt my growth until I'm out of that relationship. It's harder when you're in a relationship, when you really love someone and care about them and actually don't want to let them go and don't want to be with them. It's far harder to be able to see the realism of the truth of, had you stayed in that relationship, how much your actual well-being and self-worth was disintegrating and would have disintegrated. When you look at the cold, hard, light truth, however much you love that person, however much you care about them, it's not just about what you feel about them, it's how they make you feel. And if in the end they're not making you feel good and you're actually diminishing your self-worth, you're diminishing your sparkle, you're not even getting acknowledgement and praise for anymore for your intellect and your creativity, for your personality, for everything. Like, you know what I mean? It just sucks the life out of you. But you don't really realize that until you're out of it. And then when you shockingly out of it, of course it's gonna take you a while to build up your self-esteem and confidence again when they've knocked it so far down. You know, I got into the relationship with the guy, so I hold my hands up to that. That's my part. I got into a relationship quickly with him. That's on me. That's my responsibility. I take full responsibility for that. You know, I accepted him lying in the beginning. I forgave him. He logicked it out. I hold my hands up to that. You know, I'm not perfect. There's stuff I can improve on myself, which is why I'm in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. You know, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to, on week 7, if you're going through a breakup, maybe you've just broken up with someone, maybe you're thinking about breaking up with someone. I just want to say to you, like, what I'm going through so that you know that you're not alone and you know that you can overcome your fears of being on your own. You can eventually start feeling better after breaking up with someone, even if you loved them implicitly. That guy was so lucky, the amount of love that I had for him. He was so lucky that I loved him so much. And I put him first the majority of the time, you know? He was so lucky that I did that for him. He's so lucky that I even accepted being in a relationship with him in the first place. You know, and I'm lucky in the sense that I get my freedom back. I get to be who I'm born to be now. I'm not restricted anymore. I've not got someone patronizing me. I haven't got someone looking down on me anymore, criticizing me and making me feel bad. I've got, you know, freedom now to be who I'm born to be. I've got the love of my life, myself back. I've got my confidence back, my self-esteem back. I'm speaking to people who appreciate me for who I am. I think the tech extra events are something I want to go to more and more because just for my first like session with them, I just felt really at home and at peace and high octane energy vibes I got from very intellectual. You know, you get a different vibe when you're it's weird because I've been to the 20s and 30s social group for a long time now, and that is good, but it's a different type of talk. When you go to a tech talk and people talking about tech, it's very intellectual stimulation, more than just talking about hobbies and interests and general stuff. There's a lot of I find it very intellectually stimulating. I get intelligence attraction as well, but I find it very intellectually stimulating. And so it's really nice to speak to the people there, you know? I thought that, you know, they're quite adult there, even the young, like whatever age, you know, all different ages, but they're all like really intellectual, I'd say, from the vibe I picked up. They ask good questions. They're very interested in talking to each other, you know, and I just felt really at home there. So I'm going to see how that goes. I'm going to go to the event this Thursday. But, you know, so far I am impressed with it and I like it, you know. So again, you know, being at a tech Exeter event increased my confidence because I'm around people who value me, value my opinions, my intelligence, my experience, my worth. And when you're in environments that positively lift you up like that, of course it increases your confidence and makes you feel better about yourself. Like we shouldn't going and like, oh, I've got to have external validation all the time from people. But having said that, you know, it is good to be environments where they positively lift you up. Environment does affect you. If you're in an environment where someone's always like putting you down and belittling you and making you feel like you're not intelligent and, you know, criticizing you and like ignoring your needs and saying they'll do something and don't do it and being inconsistent, all this type of insecure behavior, you know, it's just not going to be good for you. But if you're around people who actually like value what you're saying and want to talk to you and are interested in you as a person as well, it's just good. So I want you to take the time, you know, to reflect if you're in a relationship and you're thinking about splitting up, like how better off will you actually be split up from this person? Don't get me wrong, it hurt like hell when I had to split up with that guy. It's one of the worst breakthroughs. I should say one of the worst breakthroughs, one of the worst breakups, but best breakthroughs. Or one of the worst breakups to breakthrough I've ever had. But, you know, it's been worth it in the end to like realize that I could not be happy with that person. That person was not my person. You know, they weren't making me happy in the end. And when I found out they like fighting, that just red, rang alarm bells for me and red flags. You know, I just have completely different values to that person. I wish them the best of luck in their life. I wish them all the happiness in the world. And I also wish them to be a better person for the next girl. Because if they don't work on themselves like I'm working on myself, they'll just keep repeating the same pattern with another girl, blaming her for the fact they don't have mental peace. But no girl can give a guy mental peace if he's not stable and consistent with her and treating her well. It just doesn't happen. If he wants mental peace in a relationship, he has to be able to provide mental peace for the girl. But anyway, he has all that to learn in his life. So, you know, it's important that we work on ourselves, because when we work on ourselves, it helps us feel more confident again, because we're being proactive. We're tackling a breakup from a practical point of view, not just from an emotional point of view. So when we tackle a breakup from a practical point of view, we feel like we're making progress. We feel like we're making incremental decisions, and incremental steps will propel our life forward. So the way in which you do this, obviously, is first of all, you have to try and get used to being on your own again. This is a really difficult thing to do if you spent a lot of time with that person, if you're video calling that person, messaging them a lot, your lives were very intertwined together to a certain extent. It's very hard to separate yourself, because when you're emotionally attached to the person so much, when you have so much love feelings for them and care about them and really worry about them and think about them, and you know, think about you being with them and think about plans for the future, which you was talking about, and all this type of thing. It is hard to break that off. It's like ripping your own heart out. Your heart is being ripped out, basically. And well, it's not you ripping it out, really. But if you're the one who has to end it, then obviously you've got to rip your own heart out to be able to put a brand new one in there, or to put it back into its place, but its rightful place, not the wrong place where it was allocated for that time, you know? So it is difficult. It's like literally like being torn apart. And for a while, it was really hard to regulate my own emotions. I can regulate my own emotions again now. But, you know, I felt a deep sense of out of control, being out of control. It was a bit like, you know, like you're, how can I describe it? You know, like you've got a waterfall and you cut, I don't know, you fall off a cliff into the waterfall, and then the like current of the water sucks you down, and you feel like you're scrambling around with your arms, and you know you can't breathe properly, and you're just like this, and you're totally out of control. That's how it felt really with my emotions. I couldn't regulate my own emotions. I felt like I was clambering and I got no earth to hold on to. I got no rope to pull myself back up with. It was just like I was swimming. I can't even swim. So I was like drowning. And it's like, oh, please help me. And it was very difficult because I don't actually have that many in-person friends, which when my own emotions are regulated by myself, which you should regulate your own emotions, you shouldn't rely on someone else to regulate them. But when you split up with someone, usually most people have like a number of friends around them that will comfort them and will go out with them and will talk to them and will spend time with them. I have a best friend, but you know, like I can't put all obviously my upset and pain on them because they've got a life of their own, and that's not fair to them. So, you know, I, in an ideal world, it would have been better if I'd had a few more friends so that I could have, you know, like kind of spread the emotional upset and pain, if you know what I mean, and discuss more with others. I think that would have been more helpful. But you know, I had to get used to like being on my own again and forcing myself to do things on my own and spending time with myself. When you're on a dating detox, you're detoxifying yourself from the dopamine hits you get on dating sites. And you're having to like withdraw yourself from speaking to multiple people at once. Well, in my case, I was, because I was speaking to multiple guys on there a lot of the time, at least every week. Usually, I was speaking to different guys. And so to do a dating detox is very difficult, especially when you split up with someone, because most people who split up with someone, one of the things you feel like doing, well, I didn't this time, but a lot of the time, you feel like going and talking to someone else because you're like, okay, they didn't want me, so I'll go and talk to someone else who does and make myself feel better, and they'll tell me how good looking I am and beautiful. Well, guys usually tell me that. And so, you know, it can make me feel better. But I knew that wasn't going to make me feel better this time, especially because it's like I know I'm not interested in guys at the moment. I know I'm still pissed off and angry. And I'm not into dating anymore at the moment. I'm not interested in that. I really just don't want to waste my life with that anymore. I spent 10 years looking for a guy, for it to lead to that guy who was not the right guy. But 10 years of my life, that's enough spent searching for my so-called soulmate, right? I've not completely given up on finding the right guy because I'm in the Love Life Club and I'm learning dating and relationship skills. But at the moment, I'm not even interested in having a relationship. I'm still like not even sure if I'm meant to be in a relationship anymore ever again. I'm really not. And I don't have to make that decision because I've decided this year I don't want to be in a relationship. So for the next 6 months, I'm not intending to get in a relationship with anyone because I want to focus on my career. I want to focus on my career for the rest of this year and my goals and ambitions and dreams, and get used to socializing in different scenarios and meeting different people and stuff, you know. But I just don't want to be on dating sites. It's wasting my time and life where I can be achieving so much. And I feel like I need to get my life in order still. There's a lot of stuff that I need to still achieve. And I feel it's a little bit chaotic still. So, you know, I'm trying to get things done, but some things are taking longer than I wish they were. And so by knocking off your goals, this again increases your confidence because you're keeping your promises of getting things finished to yourself. You know, the Asexual Guide to Sex book, I still need to finish the editing of that and get it published. And I've only got 6 months to do that, and plus the other books I'm working on. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I've got other stuff going on. I've got so much to do. I've still got to promote the Diary Confessions book, you know. Haven't done that much promoting of this book, which is a really amazing book. And I'm thinking about doing a workbook to go with this book. I just announced it. So 78 life lessons to ace your life. I'm thinking about doing a workbook with just the life lessons, which means people could buy the book with the life lessons workbook, or they could just get the workbook if they don't want to buy this whole book. That's something I thought of recently. I asked someone who gave me an excellent review of this book what they thought, and they thought it was an excellent idea. So yeah. But I haven't actually. I started doing a asexual workbook actually a little while ago, which I haven't announced on here, I don't think, because it's for my Asexual Academy Club members. But then I was going to put it on Amazon, but I never progressed much with that. But yes, that's what I was thinking about doing, 78 life lessons to ace your life, because I think it'd be great to have a workbook with that. So that's one of my projects I've got coming up to try and do that. I don't know how long it'll take me to do that. Hopefully not too long. But if you have got a copy of Diary Confessions book, if you haven't got one, go and grab one. If you have got, please leave a written review on Amazon, because it really helps me out and helps raise awareness of asexuality. Really does. And I want to do YouTube ad, but I want to do a YouTube ad after I got more reviews for the book. And obviously the YouTube ad is going to help raise awareness of asexuality, not just the book. So please do that. It really helps. And one thing that helps my confidence as well is, you know, this became, well, it came out, it's published in ebook format the day I split up with my ex, day after in print, the day after I split up with my ex, and it became a best seller on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk that week, and hot #1 new release on both platforms, beating loads of sexual books. So I am more successful without my ex, you know? And I think when you're more successful in and of your own right without the person you're in a relationship with, it just boosts your confidence and self-esteem again. So if we recap on self-esteem and self-confidence boosting activities, they are: 1, realize your worth and note things about that relationship that weren't actually good for you, why you are better off single and on your own. And make sure you self-date to raise your confidence. Be around people who do support you, who are interested in what you have to say, who do value you as an equal intellectual person. Get out and meet different people. And when you come across different people that appreciate you for who you are, and they're strangers, and you think your own ex didn't appreciate you, and you look at the discrepancy, if you like, you can tell that you're much better off being single. You're much more confident. You're around people who are bringing you up in life, not someone who's bringing you down. He actually did me a huge favor by his behavior. Not a favor in terms of like emotionally hurt me, but he did me a huge favor by being so bad in the end that I'm not I I have missed him in terms of loving and got used to him being there, but I don't miss the put downs, I don't miss the insecurity with the inconsistent behavior, I don't miss the lies, I don't miss the deceit, I don't miss all that turmoil, the stress and anxiety that went with being with a person like that. I'm so much more relaxed now. I still get upset about my pain in my back because I've got injured my back. But when I'm doing stuff I love on my own, like going to the cinema and having self date, that helps ease my pain because I don't notice as much. Even the physio said, do more of what you love because it'll help lessen your pain. Because with anxiety and stress makes the pain worse. So my productivity is increased because I'm not on dating sites anymore, and because I'm happier to be in my own home, and I do a lot of activities in my own home, and because I'm getting out more, and because I'm loving on myself more, it raises the productivity. Because when you feel better about yourself and you feel that your life is more worth living, and you're getting recognition by people of your value and worth, then it automatically boosts your confidence and self-esteem, which helps you to be more productive. Because when you feel good and you feel more at ease, you're able to get through tasks quicker and you're able to concentrate more on them. So this is how it really helps. And when you just think of how good your life is without your ex, you can think, haha, he really lucked out. He really did. So make your life so good. Make your life so good that your ex will be like, oh, why is that person doing so well without me? It's obvious, isn't it? They're without you. So of course they're going to do better because when they were with you, you weren't good for them. Right? But just by being so good, you don't have to seek revenge. I don't believe in getting revenge on someone. I don't think that way. I just think, how sad their life must be within themselves to treat someone so badly. How insecure must they be that they have to lie to try and get what they want in life? How must their life sad must their life be to deceive like that? How sad must it be to have to be superior to someone else and to act superior to them, to control them and put them down? I mean, what must go through that person's mind and heart and soul to be that type of person? I can't be that type of person. It's just heartless to me. I can't be that type of person who would behave the way they have. And good luck to them to working on themselves and hoping resolve those issues so that they are able to have the love they absolutely really crave inside. They don't want to be alone, I don't believe, but until they start respecting and honoring the person they're with and treating them really well consistently, it's not going to be good for them. So I hope they sort that out. That's for them to sort out. Some people do change and other people never change. Some people like lying. They think it's fine and acceptable. They think it's okay to deceive. In which case nothing's going to change, is it? But I'm just happy that I'm not in that environment anymore. Yes, I say I still have some feelings, but I'm not even sure what they are for the person anymore a lot of the time. I try not to think about that. I try to just think about loving myself, like all the love I had for them, I've put on myself now. And, I am sad that it didn't work out and it's disappointing the way it ended when it started off so good in many ways, not always, but in many ways. So it is sad when you have a dream and you think it's going to come to reality, you think things are good, and then, it's actually the opposite, right? But we live and learn and we have to accept these things happen in life. Sometimes we're meant to be with someone for just a little time. Sometimes we're meant to be with someone for a lifetime. Sometimes some people just come into our lives to teach us a lesson or to change us in some way for the better and to change our lives for the better. And I believe this happened for a spiritual reason and that I was meant to change my life. So God in the universe was like, okay, we're putting you in this situation so that you go, "Argh!" And I'm steering you to go in this direction now, and I'll shove it over here. because I'm spiritual, I believe everything happens for a reason. You know, sometimes when you're not on course for where God and the universe wants you to be, they put like a bullet up your bum. I don't know how to describe it. They make something happen in your life that's really horrendous for you to like change course, and it's like literally God in the universe grabs hold of you, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna make you listen now. It's gonna hurt so much that I'm gonna like move you. Of course, that's not what everyone thinks, and thinking someone is intentionally hurting you is not a good thing to think. But because I think of a spiritual meaning behind it, and I think everything happens for a reason, good or bad. I think what's the good out of this bad situation, if you like? And I'm like, clearly God in the universe wants you to grow from this situation and wants you to change for the better, Sandra. And so it's kind of like, this is where you were going, and it's like, no, you've got to go through this heartache and pain to steer you in the opposite direction. Because you're not meant to be over there. You're meant to be living your mission, remember, which is to help asexuals and get asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. This is your mission. You need to get back on that mission fully. You need to get back to book writing and publishing. You need to shift your focus that way. And you need to learn more about dating relationships and how to have a healthy relationship and how to attract guys that are better guys for you if you're going to be in a relationship at all. And you need to grow yourself, change yourself, become a better person. So, this is, sometimes people don't like this type of thinking because, you could argue it's not good for yourself. You could argue that, thinking like someone thing wants to hurt you in order to put you on the right track is is not a good thing, right? But I've got hurt anyway. They badly hurt me emotionally, specifically. And I can either think, well, okay, I just got hurt and not use it as a motivational tool, or I can use the whole event as a motivational tool for transforming my life again for the better forever. And I would personally rather use the whole event as a motivational tool to change my life for the better forever, and to see that I'm meant to be on this other course, this other pursuit. And I'm meant to be off dating sites for now. I'm meant to be like changing my environment now. I'm meant to be going for these goals now. I'm meant to be doing a dating detox now. I'm meant to be in the love life community, which I never ever dreamed of being in. It wasn't even on my radar until this split with the guy. Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. Matthew Hussey is like the top love coach in the world, apparently. He's got over 3 million subscribers, very famous guy. If you look up Matthew Hussey, I'm in his Love Life Club. I'm getting direct coaching from this guy in a group. I'm learning so much. He's got courses in there for confidence building, which I'm doing at the moment. But I'm already doing some of the stuff that he mentions in his course before I saw him mention it. So confidence building, he's got stuff like attachment styles, understanding different attachment styles, understanding how to recover from narcissistic abuse. I've talked about narcissism on this channel before and the signs of a narcissist. There's lots of stuff, how to move on after heartbreak was the first course I went through, which has really helped me to get over this last relationship, because he puts a lot of practicalities in there and saying, this is the love story you tell yourself, this is a romanticism, and you got this thing about this guy was the one for you, this soulmate for you. He's talking to us all, right? Because a lot of us have the same pattern. Not just me. A lot of us think, oh my God, we're meant to be with this person. This was our person. We love this person. How could we not be with this person? We're meant to be with this person. I was going around and round when I first split up with them thinking, why am I not with them? I should be with them. We should be together in life. We're meant to be together. And now I'm like thinking, Sandra, this guy did you a favor. You're not meant to be together. Why would you meant to be together with a guy who's disrespecting you, lying to you, deceiving you, saying some things that are manipulative? Why would that be your person? That's like a punishment. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be with a good guy who loves you, who respects you, who cares about you, values your opinion, who wants to spend quality time with you, who actively puts time, energy, and effort into making date arrangements with you, being there and showing up for video calls on time or before time, making sure that they're enthusiastic to see you as much as you're enthusiastic to see them, being into you not just intermittently but consistently, and all this type of thing. You know what I mean? So doing Matthew Hussey's Love Life course, I would not be learning all this stuff had it not been for this painful relationship that I went through. I wouldn't be doing that right now. And I am learning so much that I've never learned in my life before because I've always kind of learnt the more airy fairy side of dating relationships. But with Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, he dives deep into a lot of topics and gives us practical solutions on how to get over heartbreak. No, not just the airy fairy top tip stuff, the actual real practicalities. Like, look at the reality. What was this guy like? And what was the character traits of the guy you really want? So, for example, he lied, he deceived, he was saying some things which were manipulative. Is that really the type of guy I want? What type of guy do you really want? What type of person do you want to be in a relationship with? Someone who's kind, someone who's caring, someone who's loving, someone who's consistent, someone who's committed, someone who's enthusiastic to see you as much as you are them. You know, it's completely the opposite. So what we get attracted to usually is looks and the chemical reaction with that person, you know, the chemistry with that person, which can happen even if you're asexual, because you get romantic chemistry, aesthetic attraction chemistry, sensual attraction chemistry. You know, you can feel something with that person. So I say we were highly attracted to each other, right? But that doesn't make for a healthy relationship. And in the end, we're opposites in compatibility, opposite value system, right? So, and I got into a relationship quickly with that person. I agreed, but the person they presented at the beginning wasn't actually the person I ended up with, if you know what I mean. The qualities were different. So at the beginning, it was like empathy towards me, caringness, kindness, would get things for me, like make sure my health is fine, you know, all these type of things, be emotionally sensitive, you know, like be into me. And then it was kind of like a lot of the opposite by the end of it, you know, unempathetic, unemotional towards me, into me 1 minute, disinterested the next, you know what I mean? And I'm saying these things on my channel to help you so that you, if you're going through a breakup right now, or you're going through a difficult time not understanding like what you should be looking for in a relationship. I'm learning so much with Matthew Hussey's Love Life course and his book. And I'm understanding now that I need to be looking for character traits in a person more than aesthetic attraction. And, you know, and I'm trying to learn more about people by talking to them more and by seeing what type of person they are, because I need to make sure that I never actually jump into a relationship again, that I get to know a person a lot more before deciding if they would be a good fit for me. Whereas I got into the last relationship very quickly, which I hold my hands up to. You know, it's all about being very self-aware of what you did and why you did it and your motives behind that, and also the behaviors that person displayed in the beginning that they couldn't keep up because they weren't being honest. And, you know, a lot of people display certain behaviors at the beginning that are like their best behavior, but really they're not like that overall, you know? And so we have to take all these things into consideration. So if I hadn't have had the painful heartbreak, I wouldn't be in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club and, you know, exploring all these different topics and understand the practicalities of a relationship. And it really actually cements some of the things that I already think. So because of the way my past has been, I can have trouble with doubting myself sometimes. I didn't listen to my own advice. If I listened to my own advice, I wouldn't have got into that relationship, but then I wouldn't be learning the new skills in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, right? So everything happens for a reason. But what I'm trying to say is that Matthew gives us a lot of practical skills and knowledge, and it allows us to reflect on our current situation to date and see any repeat patterns that we've had previously in relationships, and like, what are we actually being attracted to? What are we actually going for? What are we actually thinking and feeling? And we have to realize that the person who we think's our soulmate, we may have thought that when we first got into a relationship, is not actually our soulmate if they don't treat us like we want to be treated and they don't choose us in order to be the actual person who's our soulmate. They have to choose us and we have to choose them. It has to be a team effort. But what I was saying about self-doubt with myself is the fact that because of things that have happened in my past, I doubt myself sometimes. I guess I doubt my own intelligence sometimes. So maybe that's why people some people don't respect me as much as they should. But I know I'm really super intelligent, but it's really weird because on Matthew Hussey's YouTube channel recently, so you can see this publicly, he's got like 7 things to basically find out if you're compatible. And he talks about the different areas of compatibility in relationships and life, basically. And I'm thinking, I know a lot of this stuff. I inherently know it, but I thought it wasn't right because a lot of the dating coaches, they don't teach this very down to earth practical stuff. They teach a lot of stuff that obviously is getting the hits on YouTube. And so if you go and watch that video, then you'll realize and understand that there's a down to earth quality about when Matthew's speaking, and he's talking about compatibility. Like, are you compatible in terms of deal breakers, which is quite an obvious one, but sometimes people overlook this in dating and relationships at the beginning. Like, does that person want kids? And do you want them or not? Do you want marriage? Do they want marriage? Do you want to live together? All these like major deal breakers, usually, right? If someone wants kids, Matthew makes a point. If someone wants kids, say it's a woman that wants kids. I don't want children, by the way, but say the woman wants kids and she's liking a younger guy, for example, and in a relationship with a younger guy, the younger guy might not want children straight away, but he might want them in 10 years' time. But if the woman's a lot older and her biological clock is ticking, there's only a certain time frame when she can still have children. It's no good her being in a relationship with a guy because she can't wait probably 10 years to have kids. She needs someone who's going to give her kids like within 2 years, for example. So that would mean they were incompatible. When you look at things like in terms of goals for a relationship, are your end goals the same as their end goals in a relationship? When you look in terms of timing, is the timing good? So Matthew doesn't believe in right person, wrong time. He says if it's the wrong time, that makes them automatically not the right person for you, right? So if, for example, that person's finishing their study, then they're going back to their country, but you're in the country they're leaving, that's not compatible because not only is it the wrong time, it's not compatible if you want a long-term relationship and they're going to leave in a month's time or a year's time or whatever. So that's not compatible. Is your lifestyle compatible? Do they want to go out partying all the time and you're really introverted and you're not into partying and you don't want to be disturbed late at night when they're coming back home drunk or whatever? And is that person extreme extrovert and you're extreme introvert? Sometimes it can work, but sometimes you can be so different that you annoy each other. So that's not compatible either. So you have to look at all these areas of compatibility. Do you hold the same values and belief systems? Do you have the same morals, or are they incompatible? So all these type of areas. So I knew a lot of this stuff already, but I thought it's too much like ordinary normal information, if you know what I mean. And I kind of thought it was wrong to like look at all these down to earth areas. Some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, this is not what people talk about online in dating relationships. They talk about all the airy fairy stuff, like, like getting the person hooked and they might talk about deal breakers like marriage and relationships, but they don't really talk about stuff like lifestyle. They don't talk about introvert and extrovert. But it's very interesting because in my Asexual Guide to Sex book, which hasn't come out yet, which I've still got to finish editing, I actually talk about introverts and extroverts and compatibility in that. So I already knew about that before I saw Matthew's video recently. So I do talk about that. I talk about love languages as well for compatibility, because the way an introvert and extrovert reacts to each other in a relationship, especially sometimes in arguments and stuff like that, can be very different. But just in general, if an extrovert wants to go out all the time, but an introvert never wants to go out with the extrovert, that can cause friction. If the extrovert wants to spend time with the introverted partner, but the introvert doesn't want to go out much, that can cause a lot of friction. But if the extrovert wants to be out all the time and never spend any quality time at home with the introvert could be upset with that. And, Matthew talks about physical compatibility. Like, if you want a lot of physical touch and that person doesn't want that, but it's a real need of yours, then it's not compatible. I'm really glad he addressed this, because even though I'm asexual, I don't want sex, I have a huge need for kissing in a relationship. I can't be in a relationship where I'm not getting loads of kissing and cuddling and holding hands. Like, I like physical affection all the time in a relationship. Like, it's like kind of one of the things I live for in the relationship. Like, it's one of my hobbies I like to share with a person, if you know what I mean. But that's very difficult. It makes it a lot more difficult for me, because there's a lot of people that don't like public displays of affection. But for me, it's essential. Otherwise, I feel like a caged animal if I haven't got my freedom with the person that way. And I can't be doing something with the person if a person's like uncomfortable doing that all the time. It's not going to be good. I need to be with a guy who loves kissing in public as much as I do, who loves holding hands, who loves lots of kissing. Do you know what I mean? So that's really important. It's a need of mine. Otherwise, I may just just stay single and kiss myself or kiss guys in clubs. You know what I mean? So it's very important that we look at these different aspects of our lives even before we get into a relationship, and we ask ourselves, like, what do we really want in our lives? Like, what's our career goal? Where do we see ourselves in a year's time, in 2 years' time, 5 years' time? Like, what type of lifestyle do we want? Do we want to be living with someone or not? Do we want to live out in the countryside or the city? Because that's another big thing for me. I do not ever again want to live out in the countryside. I hated it. Like, I felt so isolated and lonely in the countryside. It made me miserable. I didn't think about hating it so much when I was actually there. I just thought, this doesn't feel right. But now I know, now I am an adult and can think for myself. When I left home a long time ago from my parents, I know that I was so unhappy in the countryside because I was cut off. I was isolated. I'm an extrovert these days. And to be in that type of environment with loads of space, I actually like being around people. I get energy from being around people. So whereas lots of introverts get energy drained by being around people, I get energy absorption from people. And so being out in the countryside with loads of empty space and not being around anyone actually drains my energy. It makes me feel demotivated. Loads of people rave about nature. Oh, you've got to be in nature, and nature's everything. I respect trees. I think they give us oxygen. I like going to the quayside occasionally, and I like going to the cathedral to sit on there. But I don't want to spend my whole life there, and I certainly don't want to be out in the sticks in the countryside in an isolated place. It doesn't feel good to me. It feels bad. It's like I want to get back to being in the city with entertainment and feeling like I'm a part of a community, feeling like I'm a part of a city, feel like I'm around people, even though I spend a lot of time on my own, ironically. So I've got introverted tendencies, but I'm very extroverted. When I go out, I feel happier when I'm out a lot of the time. I don't think I can be out all the time, but then if someone paid me to be out all the time, I probably could, because I love being out that much. Like, why isn't there a job for an extrovert? Like, we pay you to go out all the time. That'd be like, oh, thanks. Pay me to be entertained and go out all the time. It sounds good to me. There must be a job somewhere like that, right? And so, for me, it's not suitable. So when I hear someone saying to me, "Oh, I just want to like be out on a desert island in the middle of nowhere," like that actually sends my anxiety off, thinking, "Oh my god, that's one of the worst places I'd rather be." I like to be round people. I don't like to be on a remote desert island secluded from people. That seems to be people's dream, and I'm like, this is not my dream. This may be a gazillion people on the internet. Sorry, on the planet. On the internet, it might be a gazillion people who are actually on the internet right now, and who are around the world who love this type of thing. I don't. To me, I get peace when I'm in entertainment, when I'm enjoying, like, watching, for example, Frozen theatre performance in London. I'm in joy then. I'm in my bliss. I'm in my peace and happiness. When I'm on the tubes and I'm going from one part of London to the other, and I'm chilling out on the tubes, like everyone else is stressed, and I'm like, oh, I'm so chilled. Because when I have things around me that vibe with my energy, that are at one with my soul, that are high octane energy like I am, it just feels seamless. It feels like I'm meant to be there at that time. It brings great peace and harmony. But when I'm in an environment which feels like the opposite to me. And it kind of grates on me when I feel like if I'm in open countryside, I don't like it. I feel like secluded from people, excluded, like too much space, not enough energy. Like I just don't. I look, I'm creasing my nose up. It doesn't feel good to me. I can remember being there now. It just doesn't feel good to me. I'm like, I want to be in the city where there's entertainment. I can get on a train whenever I want to. I can go to the shops whenever I want to, providing I'm not like, like not very well. So obviously, like, because I've injured my back, I have got more limitations on me at the moment. But you know what I'm saying? I just love being in the city. I love having people around me. And I don't hear many people saying that. Everyone's like plugging nature, be at one with nature, you'll feel better. It's like, well, actually, I feel more isolated if I'm in the middle of nature. I don't feel good like everyone else seems to feel. I do like a little bit of nature in the city. So I'm okay because it's the best of both worlds. I'm like getting a little bit of greenery, getting a little bit of scenery, but I have people around me. So that's good, right? But just being out in the countryside in the sticks and not being around anyone is like, no. So yeah, I think you've got to really understand yourself and analyze yourself and self-reflect, because not only will that grow your own confidence and self-esteem, it will help you to be able to form better relationships in the future. It will help you to see where you actually really do flourish in life. Because I flourish being around people. I flourish when I'm in a place which respects my intelligence, which seeks my wisdom, which likes my wisdom and knowledge. I thrive on being around high octane energy people and things and music and places. Like, it's vibrant for me. I like that. So I think we have to think, if we do get into a relationship with someone, like, how is our lifestyle going to be compatible with that person? How is our feelings and emotions? How are we going to live with that person? If you got someone who totally loves the countryside and they're like, I never want to live in the city again. I'm moving to the countryside in like 5 years' time, or whatever. But you hate the countryside, that's not going to work. I don't want to be with someone who wants to move to the countryside. It's a no, it's a deal, it's a no-go for me. Because I ain't moving to the countryside. And I do, if I'm going to be with someone, I'd rather that they live in my city near me. I don't actually want to live with them. But if they were out in this countryside, it would be awkward to see them. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't really want to visit much out there because I'd like them, but it would be too isolating for me. I'd be cut off. I don't drive myself, so it wouldn't feel good. And it wouldn't really work because I need someone who's near me and just be able to, like, if even though I'm not living with them, if we're poorly or something, we need to see each other and spend time with each other, it's much better to have us in close proximity. You know what I mean? So that just wouldn't work. So I think it's very difficult when you first meet someone because obviously you don't know all this about them. They could just pretend that they like the same type of lifestyle as you and the same type of life. But you have to really try and get to know them through time, which obviously when I got into that relationship quickly, the last relationship I was in, I didn't see all this about them. And some of the things they said that they were fine about, they weren't. And so I think it's much better because they said that they were a type of person who likes to be posted on social media with their partner. Because I asked them specifically that in the first video date we had, and they said, yeah, but it wasn't actually true. They were okay being on my channel, but they weren't okay me being on their social media and posting pictures of me and them together. It's just horrible. It's lies, basically. And so, moving on is hard sometimes, but it has to be done. And I just want you to know that things do get easier as you realize that the breakup is for the best for both people and particularly yourself, because you should have your own best interests at heart, especially if that person wasn't good to you in the end. And if you can contrast how you felt at the end of that relationship, like, were you stressed out? Were you anxious? Were you nervous? Were you feeling like less than you are? Were you feeling put down and belittled? Were you feeling like not good about yourself? Had you lost your sparkle? All these types of things. If you ask yourself those hard hitting questions when you're in the relationship with that person versus now when you're separate from them and you've been out of that relationship for, well, now it's obviously over 7 weeks, just gone into the 8th week, then you can tell that your life's so much better. because, like, my life's so much better. My stress has decreased a lot. I still have stress with my back and health, but, in terms of, like, everyday, relationship with myself is a lot stronger. I trust myself again. I've got a lot more self-confidence, self-esteem. I can smile at guys again in the street. I can chat with younger foreign guys again. I can know how beautiful I am. Luckily, he didn't destroy that. And I can, like, really date myself with more intention this time because I got a habit of dating myself every week now. Whereas before it was a few times a month. It wasn't every week, absolutely categorically, but now it's like you've got to date yourself every Sunday, Sandra. That's a commitment you need to make to yourself. And I really recommend, like I said earlier, getting into this type of habit because when you commit to yourself over and over again, if you do get into a relationship in the future, you're much more likely to be happy to be committed to someone else and have consistent behavior because you've already got into that routine and discipline of doing that with yourself. So you're used to that consistency. You're used to showing up for yourself, which is showing up for someone. You're used to setting dates and actually going through with them, no matter whether you're tired or not feeling great. You're used to doing that. You're used to being consistent and regularly dating yourself, so you'll be used to being consistent with someone else. These are all good traits that you can take to a relationship, and the more you date yourself and be committed to yourself, the more you're likely to stay more committed to yourself when you get into a relationship, because you've been used to that habit. When you make commitment to yourself a habit and love to yourself a habit and self-love, you're more likely to be able to take that through to a new relationship because you've formed a habit. So it would feel awkward and weird if you didn't keep that up with yourself, if you know what I mean. So I think that's really important. Obviously, it's harder when you get into a relationship because sometimes you do have to make adjustments because otherwise you might not see the other person at all. But that's where the lifestyle compatibility fits in. Are you both able to make some reasonable adjustments to fit each other into your lifestyles, or is it going to be too difficult and you're going to lose yourself in that relationship? These are the type of questions you need to ask yourself. But the more confident you are as a single person, the more happy you are being single, the less likely you are to get into a toxic relationship or to get with the wrong person again. And the more likely you are to just be happy being single anyway, and regardless of whether you ever have a relationship again or not. And I think that's a really good position to be in. And when you love yourself so much, you can understand that, hell, they lost a beautiful person in you. They lost someone who is kind and caring and disciplined and committed to their self-growth. I would also urge you, if you are going to get into a relationship with someone, to try and find someone with a self-growth mindset, someone who's disciplined to want to change their life and takes the action to do it. It's no good just getting a talker who doesn't put anything into action. Anyone can talk a good talk, right? So you need to find someone who's got growth mindset, who you see who's progressing in their own life, so that they are changing themselves and changing their life for the better, so that you know that if you get into a relationship with that person, you're going to grow as a team as well as an individual, because you're going to be with someone who wants to grow themselves, which is very important. You don't want to be in a relationship where your growth is stunted and basically your soul is dying inside because you're not changing your life and yourself, and the relationship's not progressing at all. It's not becoming stronger and better. It's not a good thing, you know what I'm saying? So please bear all this in mind. And the more you come to understand yourself and what you really want in a relationship, the more your confidence will grow, even as a single person, because you'll understand yourself better. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insight. If you have, pop a thumbs up. I really appreciate all the thumbs up, like, and comment love. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. There are a lot of people that watch this channel that aren't actually subscribed. Please subscribe to this channel because it helps the channel grow, helps raise awareness of asexuality more, and it just really helps get more visibility on these videos. It helps me and it helps you. So yeah, go and grab a copy of my Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual book if you haven't already. If you have got a copy, please leave a written review, really helps. And also my best-selling other asexual book, which is Asexual Perspectives. These are both on Amazon. And I'll see you soon in the next video live stream. Lots of love. If you've got any comments, queries, or questions, as always, please put them down below. And I love you, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.